So, Fem, as Ben Chilo in the beginning of the show, that today we will be discussing the basis of podcasting. We will be talking about behind the scenes of podcasting and exploring the art of storytelling and podcasting, and the final product, leyo song esiyingxameleyo, how to make money podcasting. But okwangoku we will be talking about the basis of podcasting.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about how to start. Ne? Because let's say I've got this dream, I've got this idea of...
But maybe let's start to see what is podcasting.
Perfect.
Right? Yeah. And, funny enough, the word podcasting, it's relatively a new word, but it has changed and morphed over the past couple of years. That it used to stand for an audio clip that you can download onto your computer or to your mobile device and you can listen. And it's mostly conversational. But it was audio only. So in terms of the etymology of the word, a podcast, it has changed and morphed. Nowadays, when someone says podcast, what do you think about? Video, right? You think conversation and all of that stuff. So as much as it has changed, but I think the core, the meaning behind it is still the same, that it is more of a conversation around a particular topic, and this is captured and downloaded, for people to listen offline. And this was a differentiator because when you think about radio was that medium where if you missed it, it's gone. Okay. And then eventually over time, with the growth of the internet and websites, there were recording shows, and they would then provide a segment of the show, of the radio show, as a downloadable audio file. Okay, so we call that a podcast. So it has changed. I mean, right now we're podcasting live about a certain topic, and we've added video and different other engagement elements, like people are able to comment and talk to us in real time. You know what I'm saying? So essentially that would be podcasting in a nutshell, that you want to capture your thoughts, you want to capture your ideas, conversation style. So you would do that either through audio or video, doesn't matter, but then it's more conversational. And when we talk podcast, it's not TikTok videos, right? It's long form content. Long form. By long form, I mean, it can stretch over 30 minutes and I've seen podcasts that go for like 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna go to that question. I wanted us also to discuss how does this differ from other content platforms such as radio, but you mentioned that, and also this thing we are doing, which is live, because other people can't differentiate between what we are doing and podcasting. So you did mention that podcasting you can record and then edit later on, but now if it's spedile, people can hear that.
Yeah, in terms of the delivery medium, you could either do it live or you can pre-record it, right?
Okay.
And when editing it at the end, if it's pre-recorded, you can be intentional. Whether do you want to include the mistakes, do you want it raw, authentic, or do you want it on point, right? But that's just the delivery medium. But at the core, it's still the same thing. And as far as this is a conversation amongst people on a particular topic, and they're discussing it over long form. Yeah. So I would say that it doesn't really matter how it's delivered. Yes, there are a couple of benefits for delivering it online. Live versus pre-recorded. Pre-recorded means you get to tune, you get to fix it the way that you want. But if it's live, you don't get that liberty. However, if it's live, you do get that engagement, because people can call in, people can comment, right? So there's different strokes for different folks, but at the core, a podcast is still a podcast.
I remember, my friend, I think it was in the beginning of the year or last year, I'm not really sure, where SABC occupy a statement saying that now you need to pay for a radio, you need to pay for all these things. And then
but that was fake news, ne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember us discussing it, that vele, it was not a thing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the fact that it is possible. Because with SABC, you can never be too sure.
Yeah, so if I were to look at where the country or the world is headed, and I compare it to the past, in the past, it means that the broadcasters had all the control. So think about DSTV, for example. DSTV back then, everything was live in real time. And then they introduced this little decoder, man, but is it Pure View or something?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but then you could record TV, and then you can play it back at a different time. So it allowed you to pause live TV, and you can record certain segments. I think that was the start of taking the power a little bit away from the broadcaster back to us as the end user. And then things further escalated to say, hey, you know what, we're going to provide TV on demand. So if you missed, let's say, Generations, anytime you can just go back and you'll see the last maybe 20 episodes, right? And they took it a step further to say, we're going to introduce Showmax, which is a streaming service that allows you to view wonka my episodes. So I remember I joined the bandwagon the river a bit late, season 2. So I sat and I watched the whole of season 1, Showmax, episode after episode, So this is them giving us the power, okay? And it allows us to decide what is it that we want to watch, what is it that we want to listen to. Okay. And with that being said, things also escalated to a different level where it's no longer just the broadcaster that's creating the content to be viewed. Now it's the end user that's also creating content for the fellow, So not just the broadcaster, but you and I are creating content. People on TikTok, people on Facebook, YouTube, right? They are now creating content. So the fight or the struggle for the attention has been, amplified, and it's real now. So I get it. Before there were, a high percentage of listeners listening to radio. Now it's probably gone down because instead of listening to radio, people are listening to us.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Good question, Yam Ugba. If it wasn't fake news, it means now we need to pay to listen to radio, whether we are on our cars or wherever, we need to pay. So would you pay for a radio or on YouTube for podcasting? So because you answered, Uba, now we are heading to this direction, because now podcasting, they made it easy for us to listen and watch anywhere. So you do not need to be home to watch TV. Now you can go to YouTube, usemsebenzini.
Yep, 100%. I mean, even with the Rugby World Cup, shout out to SA, right? Even with the Rugby World Cup, we were streaming it online.
Yeah.
On a TV.
Yes.
Okay? So the concept of what is traditional TV or radio in today's day and age, it has changed. I'm going to ask you a question. When do you consider that this is a radio station?
Yes.
Right, but then what makes a radio station according to the traditional definition, you would say no, it's not.
Okay.
Right? Because we've included cameras, we interact live nabantu, and people can comment and do whatever, right?
And you do not have to have a radio.
You don't have to have radio.
To listen and watch.
Right. So a radio that can dial into a certain frequency. So this basically transcends all kinds of borders that they would have created around radio.
And uzukumbule, my friend, the first thing a person asks Mao City, we've got a radio station. Ati, which frequency?
Which frequency? Yeah. No, but I mean, it's the older guys, ain't it?
No, no. I remember somebody.
No.
I remember somebody.
Young ones.
I remember somebody. I think Akazanga commented. She sent a private message on our Facebook saying, "I want to listen. Ne? Which frequency can I find you guys?"
Sure.
So, Sivele, she's listening to us live, but then again, because it's a radio, ne? Now they want to go to radio and check the frequency, but they already watching us on Facebook.
Yeah, no, I can understand that, ne? But the very same way a bit earlier I did show or demonstrate to see the word podcast has changed, because initially it was just audio only.
Yeah.
All right. But the meaning in today's day and age has evolved with time. So I would say the same is true with radio, that when someone says radio, we shouldn't only think that you need a frequency that you need to dial into. For example, let me ask you this: does your phone, when you plug in my headsets, does it have a radio section?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't.
And mine has.
Mine doesn't.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, and
okay.
you know, I paid like a couple of blocks for this phone.
Okay.
Right? But mine doesn't.
Okay, we will continue.